Alright, got the R1 Demon Rocklight whip combination. I haven't really gotten into it yet. I'm just starting to open everything up, but I've got a couple flags, 2 whips. Quick connectors on the whips, already attached. So next comes with rock lights. I think it's 8 rock lights. Looks like we've got each one of these would appear to have 4 rock lights. There's 4 rock lights. And you got some little mounting bases, it looks like. 2 in each package. Here's your rock lights. 6 LEDs, it looks like. Pretty good amount of wiring. I'm not sure exactly how much there will be. Move on to the next box. See what we got. That's a set of 4 more rock lights. Looks like the identical box to that one. Like some additional mounting hardware. All the same. Yeah, we'll have to look through that. This will be your, looks like the wiring harness. These are, so that's going to be your primary controller. Looks like we got 10 plugs on each side. 4 rock lights. And 2 whips for each side. And the last box. Additional mounting hardware. These are going to be extensions to run your whips, I would assume. Second extension for a whip. Flag mounting hardware onto your whips, and a couple additional things. And looks like some basic construction diagrams. What's going on this guy here? So we'll see how this goes. I got a 2021 Z950 from CF Moto. I've already got one whip kind of set where I'm gonna mount them, I think. I also have some mounts, so I've got to decide which way I want to go. I've also got these from Kemimoto. One's already mounted up. This was from my old whip light. Kind of like that location too, so we'll see after we get things going where I want to mount them in the end. But I'll leave enough wire and leash where I ran this out to where if I decided not to go here, I could just lay it down and run it back to here. And this is the kit. Rock lights, 8 rock lights, 2 whips, and a controller. So it's got these rubber mounts that rounded off. I'm using zip ties for now. See how it goes. I think I'm probably going to need a different type of mount for them. I'm going to mount this one down. Since I have the whips at the back, I'm just, of the 8 rock lights, I'm just going to mount one here. I think I'm going to mount one up in here, kind of towards the center of the side-by-side. And then I'll mount 2 up front. We'll likely end up with one right up in here somewhere. And maybe another up in the plastic up here. Probably right there. Maybe up in here, down. I haven't quite decided yet, but just kind of figuring out the mounts and how I want to use them. I've got a flat version of a mount. You seat it in there, and it'll actually hide your wire. And you can run it off of that wire in whatever direction you decide. And it's a nice flush mount there. Pretty decent little mounting brackets with the holes in the locations that they are. It's with the round ones in particular, it's kind of a hard thing to decide. Ideally, if I had a suggestion, this mount, here's how your wire comes out underneath, and this is the direction for your wiring. You could run it straight out of the bottom too if you wanted to, but for me, this is the way I'll be mounting them. This will be a round mount, which if it had 2 mounting holes, one on either side, little ears here and here, it would give you the ability to wrap around a bar. The way that it's designed, it's kind of a tricky idea with the ears being inline like that. Probably better off mounting with the flat, but I'm going to try the bar mounts for now, and I can always move them. So these are the flat mounts, not the bar mounts. And I'm going to take them and mount them like I think most people probably would end up doing. And I'm actually going to mount them to the fender, inner portion of the fender here, facing down. I'm going to probably zip tie another up here in the front. I may end up mounting it to some plastic, but we'll see. I'm gonna work on these for now. I think I'm gonna point them straight up there, and that way I'll just be able to run them right in underneath here, and it goes right to all my power. It's an easy route for the wiring as well. The kit doesn't come with washers for these screws. These washers aren't exactly the perfect size, but they're the best that I had. So with the nut that goes on these little bolts, I'm gonna hopefully be able to make these washers work. This is a pretty small setup here, but it looks as though it'll hold. They're pretty lightweight, so and that rubber will give a little bit just to keep it from kind of falling off maybe when you're rattling your machine around. But go ahead and start working on that. I got my drill out. Gonna have to get a small drill bit, and I'll take this flat mount that I'm not using, and I'll literally hold it where I want to mount it, and I'll just punch the holes right through these existing holes, and then I'll use the ones that are already prepped to go in there. Okay, so we got the ones underneath mounted up. Got 2 left to mount. So far I got 3 on each side. Got 2 left to mount. I'd like to get those up in the front. Kind of show off the grill a little bit. I have to decide where I want to mount those exactly, but that's the next step. Then we'll start bundling all the wires up, and I'll actually cross these wires over, or vice versa, bundle them all together. And I've already fished my old wiring through. It runs right down underneath and then right up through the center there. You can see where all the other wires would be run. A little easier to tell from this side. There's your wiring there, and that's your center console right there. It runs right down through, right through here. Then it'll pop out the front end there. I won't have a separate switch quite yet for these. I'm undecided if I will or not. With the remote power, you can just power them off. I kind of like having them, being able to just leave them on without the key on if I feel like it. So, on to the last set. Well, for now, I've decided to mount the last set right in here, behind my pod lights. It'll kind of hide the mount, because it'll just be zip tied on for now till I decide a better way to do it. But I might slide those up just a hair and maybe go to the inside of them. I'll have to see how it looks. Okay, so I'll make sure that the angle of the wire comes out. It's going to face in towards the inside of the machine. That way I'm not facing it out and having to, tangle it and route it. Exposing as little as possible. Okay, so as you see, I mean, it's it's not the perfect roll to mount. For now, it'll work. It's hardly noticeable from the front of the machine. Unless I'm really drawing your attention, without these wires hanging, I don't think you'd really realize that it was there. Pretty sturdy. I mean, you can shake your machine around without them popping loose. So for now, that's the way I'm going to run them. I'll go ahead and work on this side now, but I think I'm probably going to look into a better way of mounting those in due time, so I'll leave myself a little extra wire in order to move them. I may end up mounting them up to the plastic in some way or another. But I like the angle of this one. It'll light up the inside of the machine. This should light up the undercarriage. And then I've got the one that's right about here, so that should light up undercarriage. This will light towards the rear, and with the whips as bright as they are, should do pretty good for the rear of the machine. Kind of balance the light out, but we'll see. So at this point, I'm going to label all my wires. I just got black electrical tape and just a blue masking tape. I'll do blue for one side, black for the other, and then I'm going to take the rear cables and I'm going to run those to the other side. I'm going to bundle them all as one and actually zip tie them together where they'll feed through the center console there. That way they're already wrapped together, and I won't have to get down in there and dig around and get them all snugged up together. I'll just make sure they're tight up there at the very front where they come through to where all the rest of my wiring and my switches pop out, and I'll tie them down on this other side. I'll probably tie them to this. This is the wiring harness that actually comes to the front. You can see it goes to the motor and everything, but I'll zip tie them there to this line, feed them through so they're tight to the other side, and that way I don't have them flopping around or dangling anywhere they shouldn't be. I figured the taping right from left, because when you use your wiring harness, it'll actually give you a right and a left for all your pigtails. And I'm actually going to mount this whole controller box. Will be underneath the console. It'll actually be wired right up here against this plastic on the inside, just for easy access and to give as much lead as I can to the back lights. So we're installed. It's just a basic mode that it's initially set on, like a demo mode. As you can see, I got the lights underneath. I'm still gonna tie up all the wiring, but I losing daylight, so I wanted to show how I had done everything. So I've got one here, as you can see, as it runs up the whip light, it changes the lighting down here, which I'll mess with the lighting once I get all finished up and nightfall. But I do have the one here. I have one here. I remember that one I angled so that it's not facing straight down, doesn't catch anything and get broken. So I gotta tie up all the wiring. So, and I've got, this is the main controller block. I had to run some extra wires. I didn't tie it into the blinker systems, which it has an option to do, but I didn't do that. I still need to put a fuse on the power at the battery. I've got a 15 amp fuse that it calls for. I'm not going to put this on a switch. I'm just going to leave it for now as power. I'll just shut it off through the application. But I've got everything run through the console here. I had to take the seats out. And I've got everything run up through here. I'm going to zip tie it all up, but this gets you a pretty quick shot to the console in this machine. But this is where all the main wiring harnesses are run. I'll get everything zip tied up to that main framework. I had to fish it through from up inside behind the control panels up here. And once it comes through the control panel, it's right in behind here. So it gives you, I've got everything labeled right and left sides. When I fished them through, I did tape all the ends of the left side. I only taped the left side with a blue tape, just so I knew one side color coordinated. And that's pretty much it. Make sure you get your left and right correct. I've got to clean this up. This is the wire that it's actually going to be the power. I do have I didn't necessarily want this style of fuse, but this is what I was able to get when I picked up my zip ties earlier. But it's just a 15 amp fuse. It'll be in line. I'll run this to the battery and then attach that to the power out, so I have at least a fuse in there so I don't go burning it up. But as you can see, okay, so I have the white light on just so you can get the full effect of the lighting. So I've got two mounting locations. I'm undecided as to which one I'm going to go with. I've got the there's mounts here at the back. Just drill a small hole in this bracket here. There's already about a 3/8 hole. You have to drill a 1/2 inch hole, and that's all the way at the back. And then this is the actual roll cage mount. I'm still trying to decide which one I want to go with. I wired it so the length will reach both. I'll probably end up going with the one in the back. So I did end up, I have the single rock light here at the back, which you can see there, and the illumination from the whips at the rear end kind of round off that lighting. So it seems fairly appropriate that I did mount the one light here at the middle, and it puts that light down on the ground at the middle of the body. And then I have the two here in the front, which seem to do just about exactly what I want to. I wish I had my grill was illuminated a little better, so we may change that, but they're just zip tied on for now. So this gives me a pretty good idea of where I'm at. And I will show you what the app does here. So this is the app here, and if you want to just change them, I mean, it gives you can pretty well run with any color you want. Just have to roll your finger on that application there. It gives you I already went through and kind of made my colors that just weren't the natural colors of they give you a standard white, yellow, baby blue, red, green, and a blue color. And you can go through, so if you go here, so if you look, there's a mode button there, and this mode will give you the ability to do any. There's a lot of different ways you could run these lights. But the illumination, if you look underneath the side by side, is pretty good. It's a pretty good lighting, pretty even. I like where everything's placed. You could add a little bit, maybe move everything back just a hair, get the grill illuminating. But this is all preset settings, so you can see this is the setting number 49, yellow, blue. It's like a pulsating color, and it goes through the rock lights just the same as it does the whips. This is the 4-foot whips, the Demon 4-foot whip rock light combo. It's extremely bright. I don't know if this may not even show up. Let me turn this down just a little bit to make sure that everything shows up. But it's extremely bright. Looks awesome. Gives you the ability on the app. You can see I can change the mode. I can change the brightness. I can change the speed in which it adjusts. So there, that's slowing it down. So you have the same mode, but it slows it down. Brightness is turned up there. But it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with everything. I had enough wiring to run everything. If I was to add a little bit of wiring, it might be from the whips. There's an extension for the whips, because the whips just come with about a foot of lead off of them, and then there's an extension for them that actually runs to your control box. You may want to get a lead that's a little bit longer if you have a longer machine than mine. This Z950 is somewhat short. But I'm very happy overall with the look of it at this point. Took me about 4 hours. And I was kind of trying to work cameras and things just to get a good video of what was going on. So overall, at this point, I'm very happy. I don't have any good reason to have an issue with it. But that is just a basic installation of the R1 Industries Demon rock light whip combination. 8 rock lights, 2 4-foot whips. That's what you're looking at.